The Cognitive Security Institute is dedicated to providing a forum for practitioners and researchers to discuss the fundamental cognitive security challenges of our time. The views expressed by presenters are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of, or endorsement by, the Cognitive Security Institute or any affiliated organizations.
So to talk about the human factor, we have Torvald Ask with us. He's a neuroscientist. His research is focused within the fields of human factors in cybersecurity, brain health and development, cognitive control and cognitive warfare. Torvald holds a PhD in information security and communication technology from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. He is currently affiliated with the Faculty of Health, Welfare and Organization at Østfold University College, Norway. Torvald, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Alexandra, and thank you to EPAL for this nice arrangement. Yes. Yeah, so I am a neuroscientist. My research is a bit all over the place. Sometimes I design viruses to turn stem cells into brain cells. And sometimes I do what I did during my PhD project, which was a Norwegian Research Council funded project of approximately 1 million euro back then. Now it's more like 0.8 million euro, where the goal was basically to improve communication between military cyber teams, or within military cyber teams. So part of that was putting VR goggles on cyber cadets to visualize the networks they were supposed to protect during a simulated cyber attack, to see if having that visualization would improve communication in teams compared to people that, or cyber cadets that only had 2D visualizations, and it seemed to improve communication. And other stuff I did was to measure how the brain regulates stress response 2 days before a exercise, to see if that was related to how demanding communication was between team members during that exercise. And yeah, it seemed to be related. So your heart rate may say something about how well you communicate during a crisis. Well, I'm not going to go too much into that. I'm going to briefly touch on why human factors are important, the relationship between situational awareness and communication during cyber threat situations, why metacognition and self-efficacy is important to target during training, especially cybersecurity training, and then briefly touch on what we are doing during the Athena research project, and also my institution, which is Østfold University College. So why are human factors important? Well, in 2022, 39% of cybersecurity risks involved human factors, and as we just saw in 2023, it was 45%. This number always goes up every year. 95% of successful breaches are due to human error, and some of the conclusions that people are drawing from that, the fact that that number always goes up, is that our technical solutions are good enough, our humans are not good enough. So yeah, usually you refer to humans as the weakest link, or some people say that if humans are the problems, we should have no humans in the loop. I am not completely opposed to that, but that is not where we are now. So saying stuff that is not empowering to humans, I think, is a bad idea. We should empower humans so that they feel competent and capable and creative enough to handle the problems that they face. So yeah, and for now at least. Someday AI will take over everything. So here are some lessons or perspectives, I should rather say, from IT, human factors in IT. So first I will point to this situational awareness model. It's an old model. Some of you may know it already. It has been criticized for being too straightforward or not taking into account the distribution of knowledge and so on and so on. But I think it's nice, and this is also the model that most researchers refer to. So that's how it is. Well, situational awareness is defined as the perception of elements in the environment within a volume of time and space, the comprehension of their meaning, and the projection of the status in the near future. And during an incident or cyber threat situation, you want to build situational awareness in order to make good decisions, let's say. Situational awareness, according to Mika Ansley, is built in 3 steps. First, you have level 1, which is the perception stage, where you identify individual elements of the situation. Maybe you have some readings on a sensor that is weird, so you check other sensors to see if they are giving you some weird readings. Maybe you have a physical location you need to go to check is it the technology that is wrong, or is this actual something that is wrong with whatever system you are monitoring. Then when you have collected all of this information, you are at the comprehension stage, where you synthesize a holistic picture of what is happening. Is it a bug in the system? Is this an intrusion in our system, and so on? And then you make a projection about how the situation will develop into the future, maybe how you can affect it based on what decisions you make. Then you make a decision, you perform an action, you change the system, and you go through all of these processes again. And what some crisis managers will say is that sometimes you actually have to change the system first in order to be able to make some observations. So that's some of the criticisms that this model has received. But what is often not addressed is that it is, at least in cybersecurity, but in many other areas as well, the individuals that are collecting the data on the situation and analyzing the situation are often not the same people that are making decisions about what to do. So the analysts or the operator that notices that something is wrong is not the decision maker. So cyber defense decision making is based on human-to-human communication. An individual has to tell another individual what they have observed, and then they will make the decisions. And obviously, all of these processes can be influenced by organizational culture and training and so on. The problem for cybersecurity is that we are not able to directly observe cyberspace. We are reliant on security information and event management systems and readings from sensors and aggregated data and so on. And then a human has to observe that information to understand what is happening. Maybe they also know that, okay, a specific threat actor is active now and they are likely to target our type of organization. So what I'm seeing now could be due to some specific threat actor activity. So all of this makes situational awareness building and also communication difficult. So between team members of cyber analysts, they often, one of the most common problems that they list in their work is communication, inadequate communication. They are bombarded with information and alarms all the time, and situation changes rapidly. So when you maybe understand some of the situation, there is more data to account for. It makes it even harder for a technical person to communicate with a non-technical person. Maybe the non-technical person is a director that cares about profit, while the analyst cares about stopping an intrusion from spreading in the network. So there's this difference in priorities in that way. How do you communicate the importance of something very technical to someone that doesn't understand the technical information? There's an issue between OT and IT, both technical individuals, but an OT operator, for instance, may be concerned with the safety of an equipment being controlled by someone else, while an IT person will be more concerned with how to stop the infiltration, and those kinds of priorities may be in conflict with each other often. And also communication from CISOs to board of directors. Many chief information security officers say that they do not have access to the board of directors in the company they work in. I talked to one CISO and for a big company, and he said that I have access to the board of directors. I am at all the meetings, but I hold my tongue and I'm very selective about which of the cybersecurity issues I raise, because if I am not able to justify why this will cost them money, then I will be thrown out of the meeting. So that's also a big problem. So that's a cultural problem, really. So one of the things that we should target in order to counter some of these problems is metacognition. Metacognition is the ability that a human has to consciously observe and control their own thoughts and behaviors. That is important for learning. So if you're learning cybersecurity, you are, or whatever else you are learning, metacognition is important for understanding, okay, what is the mode of learning that makes me learn the fastest? Am I learning everything that I'm supposed to learn? What do I not know? How does culture affect organizational culture affect how I will apply this learning? And also communication, being aware of how your knowledge and how your priorities differ from other people is very important in order to adjust communication to those people. For instance, if I'm saying a lot of words now that you are not familiar with and you don't understand anything of what I'm saying, then I am not applying metacognition very well. So that's how that is. And also, a lot of people, if they feel like they already know a topic, maybe they're self-taught, and you bring something to them that they feel like they already learned, maybe they say, oh, I already know this, so I don't need to spend effort on this, and that they will not learn the small bits and pieces that they don't know because they feel like they know this already. So that's also preventing that requires that people are metacognitive. And this is something that you can train, thankfully, and should just making people conscious of why they are learning the things that they are learning and of their own learning process will improve metacognition. But it's not a silver bullet. So there are two cases. One case where an individual was called by a criminal and pretending that they were some cybersecurity personnel at their bank. They say, hey, your bank account has been hacked. I need your login credentials, whatever. And the individual said that I was conscious of thinking that this was probably fraud, but I was so stressed and I didn't feel like I would be able to deal with the situation, so I just gave away my login credentials in order to make this situation pass faster. So they lost money because of that. So they were metacognitive, they were aware of their thoughts and their feelings, but they were not able to act on those thoughts and feelings. Another issue that was more severe was an OT engineer that was sent to another country. I won't say the name of the country or the engineer, but if you know about threat actors and how they operate, you might be able to guess which country. They were sent to a country to do service engineering on a crane attached to a boat. And the service engineer, their first thought when they saw the boat was, this crane should not be on that type of boat. This is completely weird. But they didn't do anything about that thought. They went on board the boat, and essentially they got their PCs got infiltrated. So that was a supply chain attack. And I asked the individual, okay, but if you noticed that this was weird, why didn't you tell your bosses about this? Why didn't you say something? And then he says, who am I to say something about that? I'm just a service engineer. I'm just there to do a job. What if it's wrong and I'm offending someone or whatever? So what the problem is here is that these individuals did not have the belief that they have what it takes to deal with the situation, either because their organizations doesn't tell them that their judgment matters, or just because they don't have never been through a situation where they were shown that they were able to handle that sort of stress. And that's why we need to target self-efficacy. So self-efficacy is the beliefs that you have in your own abilities, skills and abilities to handle either situations you have been through before or learn how to handle new situations. And self-efficacy, or sense of mastery, or empowerment, or whatever you want to call it, is built through training and experience. And essentially what you want to do with an OT operator that notices that something is wrong is that they act on their suspicions, or that they communicate that something is weird. Maybe it's not a bug, maybe it's an intrusion in our systems. Instead, that they think, this is not my responsibility, or someone else more competent than me will notice if something is wrong. Those are the things we want to avoid. So providing them with training that teaches them that I am able to handle these types of situations is crucial. But it must be reinforced by leadership and culture. Leadership has to make people believe that their judgment is important. That also that it's better almost to report something one time to many than one time to few. Because if the self-efficacy is not reinforced from leadership, then people will still not act on their suspicions. And also, if leadership instills the belief in individuals that their productivity is more important than the security of the organization, because it often is to leadership, then that's what they will act on. They will not slow processes down to be more secure. So, yeah. And yeah, we know that there's a lot of cybersecurity research now that try to see associations between attitudes and some behaviors and self-efficacy, but there are basically no research trying to improve self-efficacy. So that's part of what we want to do for the Athena project. I'm part of Østfold University College. It's a small university college in Østfold in Norway. These are team members. So from the left, there's our leader, this Benjamin Ox. Then our project administrator or research administrator, Leanne Torgersen. Then you have me, which I'm a postdoc. And almost forgot what I was. And then Beth Noble, which sits in the back, and she is our PhD candidate. And our research has considered needs assessment, which has been consisting of Beth interviewing OT personnel and asking them, what do you need to learn? What do you feel about learning and VR training and cybersecurity in general and stuff like that? We are trying to improve self-efficacy. We are doing intervention design, so trying to tweak the levers of training to make it effective. Also considering social spaces and digital spaces, meaning, but for example, concerning how organizational culture, how individuals take with them organizational culture into their training and how they interact with each other and interpret what they learn, and also ethical challenges. So Leanne, Beth, I and Ben, but mostly Leanne and Beth, conducted some scoping reviews. Sebastian mentioned that briefly, where they found out there was very little cybersecurity training for OT operators in the research literature. It's usually focusing on IT office environments, so not control rooms, not operational technology at all. It's just, okay, don't put your USB stick into the office computer. If there is OT cybersecurity training, it's not targeting OT personnel, it's targeting cybersecurity professionals. And there's also a need for bridging communication gaps between IT and OT. And this scoping review is currently under review at IEEE Access and being revised for resubmission. So we expect that it will be published sometime this year. Also, Beth conducted some interviews before OT personnel went through the pilot, that VR training pilot that the Virtual Rangers developed. Many of them reported that they felt like they didn't have enough and adequate cybersecurity training, so it mirrors what's reported in the scoping review. It's usually cybersecurity training that has to do with office spaces and less to do with the technology and control rooms and stuff that they work with. They are very concerned about contractors from outside getting access to their systems and what consequences that can have for cybersecurity. So they also want to learn more about insider threats, and they are interested in VR as a learning platform. Then some of them went through a pilot where they were taking a VR testing environment, I should rather say, more so than training, where they took the role of an insider threat and were tasked with identifying cybersecurity risks or entry points in an office space. They thought that was realistic during their, or said that they thought it was realistic during their post-pilot interviews. But they wanted even more realistic environments to an operator control room at locks. There are some things I'm forgetting now, but just ask Beth if you are interested in this research. But they also said they were more aware of what they didn't know after a pilot, but they want an explanation of the risks, linking them to events that could be relevant for them. They want opportunities to re-enter the learning environment to learn what they had missed, and also more info on how to deal with risks. And that's my presentation. We are doing some research also on self-efficacy, but we're still needing more participants in order to see the effect that testing environment has on their self-efficacy. And yeah, I'm done.